Not Perfect community. This is Chantra. I hope you're well. So I actually have been really wondering a lot about some of the new advances in digital experiences, marketing, growth, brand, the integration of all of that stuff for ourselves in our own business interests, and then also even in our personal lives. And so with that backdrop, I thought to myself, thinking of this amazing network that God has blessed me with, who can I talk to about all things brand, digital, and advancements that are happening? Why would they be a really good person to talk to? Well, I found the person in my mental Rolodex. A dear friend of mine that I've known for a number of years as we went through the Kellogg experience together. And she happens to live in Hong Kong and work pretty frequently, headquartered in Shanghai. And she's on the cutting edge of some pretty cool stuff, y'all. So, I think that this will be a very interesting talk if you too are finding yourself wanting to be more clear, at least with a foundational understanding of some of the things that are happening to change the way we market today. So this podcast is a really good one if you are just curious, or if you actually have an interest in marketing something yourself, or if you just like hanging out with me here at Proven Not Perfect podcast. So I hope you enjoy this podcast with Jacqueline Wong.
Hi, Jacqueline. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm so excited about this conversation. So today we're having a talk with one of my dear friends and classmates from my Kellogg experience. Jacqueline Wong is just amazing. I don't know how many of you have in your life that person that just walks in the room and immediately their essence almost takes over the place. No matter what anybody was doing, they sort of stop. And if they are really humble, they actually stare. And if they are a little bit more prideful, they might actually cut a corner out of their eyes so that they don't look like they're staring, right? But nonetheless, there is a notice of this air, this essence that's come in the room, the presence of this being. Jacqueline, that is you. And I will never forget our first few times getting to know each other when we were sat in the same classroom at Kellogg.
That is such a flattering, but I don't think that is, so much impactful. But it is also, every time when I encounter, like new friends, that is also equally impressive for me. Then I really things that made my day. It's like also the day I met you, in the classroom.
Yes. Well, so let me just back up a little bit so that everyone knows. So Jacqueline Wong, outside of being a dear friend of mine, is general manager of Activation PR and Activation Digital. It's a part of the Activation Group. She's leading the interactive data performance marketing group for pan fashion brands in Greater China. She's offering experiential marketing, digital and communication, as well as exclusive licensing of several top international IPs in China. And when I say top, like let your mind flow to the tip top of the most exclusive, the most luxurious, the most well-known brands, those are her friends. And she wears it so well. She's a brand steward is sort of how I believe she talks about herself. And I agree with that. And it kind of ties into how I open this talk and saying that she brings forward this essence, this real sense of knowing what it is she is seeking to give off as a vibe, and also being very mindful and watchful of whether or not it's working. And to me, that is the essence of a corporate brand, right? knowing what it is, knowing what vibe we give off, and being mindful to see if it worked. Jacqueline, I know that I've only tipped the iceberg with all the things that you can teach us about growing a brand for a company and for ourselves. I would love for you to introduce yourself with your words.
Sure. I think you get it right to the point. So thank you for the introduction. And yes, our role basically as the creative agency, we do help and support like the scale corporation with the investor behind normally, with a strong entity to achieve the business goal and a sales target for their portfolio of the brands. That could be fashion brand. Usually they could have like a different portfolio for the luxury group. And they have to meet the KPI like every year in the very competitive market. And as the agency, we have to think from their feet. And our clients, basically, they are the C-levels, like the CEO of the Asia Pacific, like the CMO. They want to think from the marketing and the branding perspective, and would like us, like extended arms to help them complete the mission and achieve the business target. From time to time, like a year to year, business goal to meet. So it's not like just come up with some creative ideas and a campaign. We got to measure the results and to achieve the sales target together with them. So this is like the model nowadays. And also we have to think about the brand sustainability, talking about whether this idea works and is there like a continuous story to tell year after year, and whether we need to do the brand rejuvenation, and is there any adjustment of the target customers. So all these things we need to back up with research, and also to have our house of the talent from creative, from planning, from account servicing to come out everything together, and to help the glamorous brand, we will say, the luxury brand, to achieve the goal. So the agenda behind could be a little bit different because each of the brand, whether it is on brand and what kind of the mission they have is very particular and is different. So each of the cases is different. We can't repeat. So that is what we are doing every day.
So how did you get into this? I mean, this just sounds like such a glamorous thing. And I would imagine that with the onset of globalization and companies having to understand that it's not one size fits all when you translate your brand transcontinentally, right? That's when they started to say, okay, who helps us? I would imagine. And Activation Group was right there. How did this, can you tell us a little bit about maybe a little history lesson on the impact of globalization and the learnings of why it's important to have a partner such as Activation Group?
Mm-hmm. That is a very interesting question, because as Activation is one of the leading marketing agency in China, particular on luxury brand and fashion brand. So basically the prestige fashion brand, they will come to China, they will find us. So it is such a good strategy that we do the good things, and because of the word of mouth, they will come to us. So these brands, they already have an established global presence with a very strong brand image. Then if they come to China, they have to think about the strategy with the local adaptation, whether it could be like a mega fashion show that we are bringing from Paris Fashion Week to Shanghai or Beijing Fashion Week, or from London, from Paris, from Milan, this is all coming together to China. So from the Fashion Week, we also continue to develop sort of like the 360 integrated campaign for them. After the fashion show, there's a lot of the new things coming up, like the metaverse. We are creating the different experience of the fashion show with these brands. So there could be online fashion show, and like the previous year under the COVID, the impact of COVID, we did do the shows that is an empty space. It's just a digital fashion show that we are creating online, so everyone can see it like live streaming online. But we have the models on the stage. We have the show director. we have the technicians, we have the whole crew, but there is no audience. So this is like sort of like a new experience. But as an agency, we need to think about whether we should do it. What is the impact? What is the KPI and the result? What is the audience? How many people will read it, review it online? And what is the outcome, the expected outcome, and whether celebrities can also join or not. So this is part of the things extending from fashion show to the digitalization, how we manage the digital campaign, and also on the PR perspective, how we manage this event. So everything's, come all together is like linking up. So what I would say, like in the current situation, we got to be very creative, but also digitally, we have to be strong and really catch up with the technology and to offer the, quite different and interesting solution. So that is what we are doing. And we are actually learning together with our clients every day when there's a new assignments to come.
Wow, that literally blows my mind in so many ways because no secret to anyone that's listened to Proven Not Perfect, right? I would love to spend all of my time talking about fashion because it's just a hobby and an interest of mine. I'm fascinated by it. And to think that, in 2020, when things sort of shifted, it almost, as I listen to you, it almost sounds like it created this new place of access that didn't exist before. I, in fact, remember seeing a couple of my favorite designers in their New York Fashion Week show in 21 this year, and literally almost felt like I was there, right? That was pretty doggone neat. But what I heard you talk about was this notion of integrated PR and the exclusivity, right? Because historically, Chandra Pal wouldn't have been in the room sitting next to Kim Kardashian at the fashion show, right? Mm-hmm. So now digitally, I can feel like I'm there with her. But my question is there a consideration around the exclusivity of the whole thing and how you keep the posh and the prestige about it so that it's accessible, but it's still exclusive, right? Like, is that on your mind? That's so amazing to me.
Yes, definitely. So I think first of all, for like fashion industry, it's like a small circle. In the industry, everyone knows what show is on tonight. In the live streaming, so everyone will post it in the WeChat, so you can just click and go to the the live streaming part. You can easily enjoy the show. This is like non-exclusive. It's for everyone. But for the VIP, the VVIP, normally when they have the shows, they will have the exclusive invitation to be invited to the store to choose their outfit prior to the event, right? So without the physical show, of course, on the sales perspective, we lost one chance to make that business. But normally we will have another set of the very exclusive invitation, very exclusive treatment to these luxury clients. So they will have like the kind of the exclusivity, like they will experience that. So there's a lot of things, like it's not just the show, but behind the show, there's a lot of marketing initiatives is like customized for the different segment of the customer to make them success. So that is also the secret and also the power of luxury, why everyone looks up to and want to be the VIP. They don't mind to pay a little bit more. They will always like to shop in the store, and they will not want to, I just fly over for like a lower, like a pre-tax or like a lower exchange rate. They enjoy the kind of the pampering at store and the kind of the exclusivity.
Wow, so fascinating. Okay, so this digital fashion show with models and tech and all of that, is that now a part of what your suite is? Like literally you've moved from brand in more of a static sense to brand in more of a dynamic sense, it sounds like.
Yes. It's all happening. Now, I'm currently in Shanghai and it's in the lockdown mode. Okay. So there's a lot of shows that's also, put on hold. But when it is unlocking, then the shows will still go on. So that means it's always a combo of both. Even we have the fashion show, we will still have the live streaming, or some of the brands, they particular want to do only the virtual show because they are more digitally advanced or want to create a kind of the first experience to the audience. So it's a matter of choice. It's not like just shift towards like any point, but then it's like coexist to create the kind of experience that will best suit that season's theme or the designer's thoughts.
So, what are your thoughts on where fashion will go in this post-pandemic? And I do respect what you just said, right? So, for everybody listening, Jacqueline is in Shanghai, China right now, and she's on lockdown. And I think, Jacqueline, last time we spoke, because we try to keep in touch, you were in Hong Kong. You were planning your trip to Shanghai. However,
Right.
you knew that you would be quarantined for a bit of time before you could actually freely flow around Shanghai. Are you
Right.
post quarantine or are you still in that quarantine?
Actually, it's already post quarantine. I work in the office for 2 weeks and then it comes to the lockdown again because of this current situation. Okay. But then, what is very interesting, I would love to share is during these like 10 days of another lockdown, the business is going pretty well. And we're working on a few of the projects, which is like totally offline. And we are talking about like today, we have a shooting and because of the lockdown, but we have a schedule to follow to be able to shoot it definitely before May. It's some assets for global and for the local market. Then we're thinking about in a lockdown mode, whether we can shoot it in Beijing, in Guangzhou, or like Hangzhou. So there's a few places to decide. And basically the whole team normally should attend the shoot and to direct everything. But we are talking about which team we should work with, although we are used to work with them, but totally, like digitally working and monitoring the shoots and directing the shoots. This is almost like the first time in my life that I don't attend the shoot, but, working with my creative team, in the different spots and look at the screen to complete the task. And simultaneously, there's another live streaming is about a investor forum that is a fund, they have to connect with the worldwide investor, like 100 investor, but we have to do like a 3D rendering with them, like the metaverse environment to have the CEO to be there. But he personally could be attending the event, but there are some other guests cannot be there. So we're also thinking about the whole setup of the environment, but it's totally virtual to give that experience to the investor. So this is another thing I think is very amazing. And I have worked on this project as well. So I think this is something very amazing that I can't believe in this kind of lockdown mode, we can, push forward the projects like that.
Do you think that almost signals, I mean, whether you are in fashion or whether you are in anything, right? There's this great discussion right now around having a digital platform that you operate almost your complete end-to-end business on, right? And it sounds to me like what you are having the privilege to do is to be on the cutting edge of figuring that out logistically for this industry, which is pretty amazing because I believe every industry is going to have to develop, if they have not already, this approach.
Right. I think on the technology side, we have to catch up a lot because even we can create like an amazing screen, or like the environment. So whether when we put into this whole setting, and we have to make sure that we also have the simultaneous translation, we have the smooth operation, we have all like the connection is all smooth. So because their audience is there, you can't have any mistakes. So this is also pretty challenging. That means you have to be really good over the technology side.
Wow. Wow. Well, I'm sure you guys are great. I am. So you have to tell me this. You talked about metaverse, right? You
Mhm.
talked about and I would imagine that that some way connects to these notions of digital tags and things like that. Can you give us just a quick dummies guide of metaverse and digital tags and tools like that? Just because I'm sure that's something that many of us are hearing about, and not everybody has a
Okay. Okay. I have an interesting, real example, a project that we're working on. Is about like makeup brand. Okay, so we have the kind of the virtual idol. Okay, and we need to create like a virtual environment to let a very famous and very popular influencer, the top one in China, to talk and interact with these virtual idol. And in this story, we have to tell like how they experience the product and how they feel this skincare product is how good to their skin, whether from the virtual idol perspective or from the influencer. So you can imagine we have to shoot the assets like that to create a video like this. It will
Mm.
be very fresh and interesting to attract the audience because they see the real person like a celebrity is talking to a virtual idol, but is equally popular because they have the name, So they are talking about the benefits. They are talking about their experience in a, very ideal environment. So these kind of the assets, when we shoot it, we produce it, is very impactful. It creates a talk of the town, and people feel it like naturally. They can understand what is the message the brand want to transmit instead of like the traditional video. When we see the like a TVC launch, then you also can get the information, right? But you won't be that impactful because it's the first time the brand is using that technology combined with the real life. So, and in the process of discussing about this idea, we need to know like the technical side. How can we render and how many facial expression we can create for this virtual idol? So there's a lot of the work behind, and it's quite costly, I would say, to create this virtual idol in this metaverse environment.
Wow, that's fascinating. So how does one start to develop this following, this virtual person, if you will, this virtual idol, develops this following? What attracts people to this virtual idol? Is it the virtual idol's articulation of things that resonate with the people that eventually follow them? Is it the prominence that the virtual idol already has because somebody well known pushed the virtual idol out there? How does this even start? Like, you're blowing my mind because this is less of a thing here in the US right now, and I believe it's something that we're going to need to get smarter about, especially those of us that are marketing and branding for businesses.
Yeah, I think this is also something pretty new for China as well. But that's that virtual idol. There is a right and the copyright, and also the idol has the manager. So if you want this right, you have to also discuss with it. The cost, the charge of it between the brand and the idol when there is any business cooperation. That's the first thing. And also the idol, they already accumulate the fans in the social platform. So they are not like nobody. There is also the kind of the different ranking, like the influencer, you will have the top influencer that owns like a very strong followers, the strong fan base. Same as the idol, there will be some very popular idol, but that could be someone that just looks beautiful, but they may not have lots of followers. So everyone is catching up and developing and also nurturing their own idol.
Wow. Oh my gosh, I love this. Okay, so this right here is a good tip into another area that I really wanted us to explore before I let you go. And that is growing a personal brand. So right now, it sounds like each of us personally would almost serve ourselves to think about the important asset that we possess, that we own, and that's ourselves. And I think historically we used to think of that in a very static sense. If you follow the trend, if you think about how things are developing and changing, to me, there's something for us to spend some time thinking about that for ourselves as well. When I say building a personal brand to you right now, Jacqueline, what are the top 3 things that come to mind?
I think you have to be really passionate about your brand, your offering, and the idea. I think that is very, very important because you need that passion to sustain, to grow your brand. And also, you have to be very brave because you have that kind of the all responsibilities on the shoulder, the full responsibility of the P&L, and the dream team you want to recruit. You need to make sure that idea is going to, to work. At least you have like a 50% confidence. And then as it unfold, you see how that goes, with the dream team, you really look forward to work together. And also, I think to pick up the business model to decide whether you want to, earn a living or you want to fulfill your dream, you have to get it really right about it. So I think growing a brand for yourself is something very brave, and it's something very interesting, in the life that like to have this kind of the entrepreneur spirit to, start off to grow your brand. And like in the agency life, we work with a lot of the different brands. That could be the big corporation, there could be some entrepreneurs, someone with the new ideas, a brand, or they may have like like they love to play squash and they want to open a squash club. That is something I encounter, from the cohort. They have this idea in mind and they want to, open like a center, a prestige club. So these are all the ideas that you're going to own your own brand, and you got to pour a lot of your passion and time and total devotion. But doesn't mean you will be able to succeed. That's why what is the goal you would like to achieve? I think it's very important when we, have a chance to talk about a new idea to grow your brand. We have to get it pretty clear. Because also for myself, I think I do learn a lot when I'm growing the brand of a company. I'm growing myself as well to learn a lot together with the client. And then we got the chance to assess to the different business model. You have to feel excited and nervous whether the new launch is going to have an impact to that business. Then at the end of the day, the agency will have the, the comeback clients, and we will sustain our business as well. So every business model, you got to learn from it. You're exposed to so many different, career options or possibilities. I think that is something very fascinating because every time we talk about these kind of the possibilities, we really have the shining eyes and we think, oh yeah, maybe yeah, we can do this. It's very fascinating. Whether you really do it or not.
Wow. Yeah, it is fascinating. And it's funny because I feel that this generation that my kids are in, they are naturally getting and influencing all of what we say in a way that, is very intangible in some without being purposeful for our generation, right? They're growing up with this social sensibility. They are growing up understanding brand as a dynamic instrument. I even see through, my kids where there's a conscientiousness about presence, social presence, where, they say the old heads, right, went on Facebook and just thought it was a place to just kind of, tell everybody that you were eating multiple times a day, right, where nobody really cares. Where these kids, they do have a social sensibility where they are putting forth messages that lean into who they say they are. and they're very conscious about it. And that's amazing to me. And it sounds like it lines up really nicely with what you're saying. They're brave, right? They're brave.
Mhm.
They understand their own social personal platform, and they're taking it seriously even before they're able to monetize a thing, right? It's not even about
Right. Passion
monetization.
comes first.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, right? Who knew that? Well, I guess we did know that we were seeding this whole new generation of entrepreneurs, but I am inspired by studying this generation and their seamless approach to all things brand and social integration with their life. That's amazing to me. Yeah, there's so many things
Totally
to talk
agree.
about.
Totally agree. The kids, and me too. When I look at the kids, they have brilliant ideas, and they have the skills that my generation may not have.
Yeah.
So so many possibilities as well.
Oh, wow. Well, look, we could just like keep going and flowing for so very long. I know that anyone listening is probably wanting more, but I'm going to be respectful of the fact that you've already had a long day and you probably need to end this day. Jacqueline, you're amazing. Keep doing what you're doing. You and I will stay connected. You've been such a personal mentor and friend to me, even when you don't realize it sometimes, but I think you do because I tell you. I'm hugging you from afar, from across the Atlantic, and I can't wait till I can do that in person again.
I know. Thank you so much for your invitation. I'm super excited, and I look forward to the conversation with you.
I'm going to be growing
Lovely.
Proven Not Perfect, the brand. How about that? Proven Not Perfect.
Right.
We gotta build that out in my global presence. All right, sweetheart. Well, thank you again.